Hello, I'm Dan Genovese, director here at Entercom, and I'm joined today by Phil Hodges. He's president and CEO of Pinecliff Energy. Uh, Phil, great to have you with us today. Tell our viewers a little bit about Pinecliff Energy, where you operate, and your focus in terms of production.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, for having me today. The Pinecliff Energy is a Canadian natural gas company. So we're about 87% of our production is natural gas. We're focused in all of our assets are up in the province of Alberta and the province of Saskatchewan here in Canada. And there's a few really unique things about Pinecliff. One is we're debt free. We also, so with that, we've got about $60 million in the bank right now. We've got our production's about 21,000 BOE a day, like I said, primarily natural gas. And it's got the lowest production decline of any public company in Canada. So our decline rate's only about 7%. So it's a very unique natural gas story here in Canada.
Yeah, so you got some long life assets, which I think is really intriguing for investors. Low declines. How have you guys grown, and what is the plan for growth as you kind of look into the future and tell us a little bit about the past?
Yeah, so I was the founder and very first employee of Pinecliff back in 2012. So we started with about 100 barrels a day of production, and we've grown through 11 different material acquisitions over the last 12 years to get us to that 21,000 that we are today. And we think there's going to be some opportunities for further acquisitions and consolidation in our space, and that's something that that's why our balance sheets and we put it into the position that we are, because I think that's going to allow us to move quickly. We don't, we prefer to not issue equity if we don't have to. The last acquisition we did with 100% cash, didn't use any debt or equity. And so that we continue to look to tuck in assets as we go along. We didn't do any asset acquisitions in 2022 because it was such a strong year for cash flow, but it wasn't a great year for acquisitions because the expectations were a lot higher. Gas prices have come down in 2023. We think this lull is going to be a good time to add more assets, and that's what we're going to try to do because we're pretty confident that in 2024, 2025, that we're going to see an upswing in the commodity prices, especially natural gas, as LNG. There's many new projects coming on in that time frame.
Yeah, and one of the things again that investors are looking at within the energy space is a dividend. You guys are currently paying one. Can you tell me a little bit about that and where you're going with that and where you've been?
We only started it in June of 2022, so we're just a month away here. We're recording this in the end of May. That we will have a 1-year dividend. So I think we're flying under the radar a little bit because we haven't even had an annual dividend, but we've raised it twice. So we're now paying about 13 cents a share, which works out to roughly about a 10% dividend yield, which is one of the highest dividend yields on the Canadian markets, not just in oil and gas, but across all sectors. And the fact that we're doing that off a debt-free balance sheet, the fact that we've got as much cash in the bank, our commitment, for instance, for 1 year on our dividends, about $46 million. And we've got, $60 million in the bank. So more than the entire dividends is covered by cash that we've got in the bank. So it's a very sustainable. We're very proud of it. We hope that we're going to be able to continue to grow that dividend. The model was always to continue to add assets that would allow the dividend to be as sustainable as possible over a long period of time. And that's why we focused on these types of assets. We're not the producer that's out drilling a lot. In the last 10 years, in the last 3 years, we've drilled about 10 wells. So it's a very different business model than a lot of the peers in our space, but we like it. We've got some really big insider ownership. We've got some very big, the biggest pension fund in the province of Alberta is our biggest shareholder. They own over 10%. So it's a model that's probably not for everybody, but for those who like natural gas exposure, like a dividend yield, and like that long-term kind of a safe model of not having a lot of logistical issues of drilling and dealing with all of the extra components that come with that type of model. We're quite happy where we are.
Yeah, that low decline really lends itself to, kind of buffering you from any kind of inflation in terms of drilling costs and other types of things, which is a great position to be in. At the conference, investors will be able to set up one-on-one meetings with you. tell me a little bit about the management team what investors, how it'll be, who they're going to meet, and the experience of those folks on your management team.
Yeah, I'm going to be there for sure. I'm not sure if our operations COO Terry McNeil will be joining me or not. We run very lean. That's one of the great benefits of this model is so we don't have we've only got even though we're 21,000 barrels a day, our head office is about 33 people. So we tend not to travel in packs. So I will probably bury I will have the burden of coming down and telling the story. But I know it very, very well because like I said, I've been involved with it for over 12 years now. I think that what I bring to the table is a lot of acquisition experience, both prior to my time at Pine Cliff and since we've been at Pine Cliff. And I think that's how we're going to continue to grow. Operations wise, we've proven ourselves over the last 12 years to be a very good operators of assets like this. And so we continue to, every time we do an acquisition, our goal is always to lower the operating costs associated with those assets. We've been very successful in doing that. So I'm looking forward to meeting, we haven't done much US marketing. We just got an OTC listing in the US. And so that hopefully that'll make it a little easier for US investors to invest in Pine Cliff. We trade on the Toronto Stock Exchange as well. So it's easy for the Canadian investors. But I'm really looking forward to meeting investors at the EnerCom conference in Denver in August.
Yeah, and on that note, I'll remind folks they can go to the EnerCom Denver website. They can register to attend when we open up one-on-one meetings. You can certainly request a one-on-one meeting with Phil and Pine Cliff Energy when we open that up. And Pine Cliff will be presenting Tuesday, August 15th. So you can mark your calendar to hear this great and unique story. Phil, thank you for joining me today. Look forward to seeing you in August.
Thank you very much today for having me, Dan, and I look forward to seeing you as well.
All right, bye-bye.